Okay. I'm sitting here with the one and only Vashti.
Hey, what's up?
So, what brought you out to the LTU rent party tonight?
What brought me out was it's time for us to build community back together. I think COVID really had us isolated. It had us in our homes. It brought a lot of fear where we didn't really want to be in community with one another. So now that, COVID has kind of subsided, but really not really. But really, in the meantime, so much shit has continued to happen to vulnerable people like myself. So I think it's time for us to come together, build power with one another, and continue this fight.
Mhm. So, you spoke on like vulnerabilities that people go through. One being that a lot of us is facing is the rent increases, and not even just the rent increases, but the difficulty even moving into a nicer neighborhood for your budget. They don't even approve you, even if you should qualify. So, what are some of the things that you may have experienced, living in the city as long as you have?
Yes. So I've experienced landlords that just don't come to fix nothing. Like, for instance, I lived on the top floor in an older apartment and
Mm.
I kept hearing something in the ceiling. I'm like, hold up, what is
Something's
that?
in there.
Like, am I hearing stuff? And so I was like, I had called him up and I was like, yo, like, I'm hearing something. I don't know. It seems like it may be alive or
Mhm.
like something's going on. It took them forever to come out. And their only solution was to put a squirrel trap at the top and literally catch the catch the squirrels until they pretty much take their last breath and then wait for the same people to come back, get the trap, and dispose of the squirrel.
Do
But
you
in
feel like if you live somewhere else, they would have handled the situation a lot more rapidly than they did?
They definitely would have. They definitely would have.
Okay. So you feel like it's a more of a discriminatory aspect, maybe due to your race or the fact that you're a woman. They don't feel like they have to listen to you as much. What do you feel stops the landlord from actually acting on the things that you've asked them to do?
Yeah, I think it's kind of one of those things where the landlords feel like we need them as a renter more than they need us. Because at the end of the day, I mean, I need a roof over my head. I
Mhm.
need, a place that I can go to and, feel safe to be able to, sleep and see the next day. So I think it's really definitely one of the things where like landlords take advantage because they feel like, okay, well, I'm providing you, even though in it's inhumane. I'm providing
Mhm.
you this. So you need me more than I need you. And I think at the end of the day, the role is reversed.
Right. I mean, it's definitely reversed because if we don't rent anywhere, they don't make any money. If they don't make it a livable, sustainable household for us to live in, we're not going to want to be there. And you can't really raise the rent if you don't change, the property value for us too, the living value. Like a couple of people sat down here tonight and they were like, yeah, the rent just changed overnight pretty much. If you didn't have a lease, if you were month to month, it just changed overnight. But the value of life didn't really change. Like the house still sucks. It's still squirrels in your attic, and you gotta wait for them to die before somebody does something, and then you gotta smell it. So, how do you feel Louisville Tenant Union has made an impact in the city, and how has it actually affected you? Maybe you since you've been getting involved with the Louisville Tenant Union.
Yeah, so I will say that I am in total 100% support of Louisville Tenants Union. I really, really, it was just so powerful to see them come together and fight against the Liberty Green management. You know
Mhm.
that Liberty Green is at HUD housing complex, so meaning that a lot of the people who live there are in, very vulnerable state where they are getting assistance from, the people who are supposed to help us.
Mhm.
But though that they're living in these spaces, they were not getting the proper living conditions that they rightfully deserved. So they
Mhm.
came together and they fought, and the management are no longer management there. So they
Mhm.
really have showed that there's power when people come together and when they're aligned under the same purpose and they are fighting the same
Mhm.
fight.
That's definitely true. That seems to be without even asking people. Like I've been asking different questions and different angles, but people still come back to that one. If we just come together and be a union, we're a lot stronger and we can knock these different things out. And like you said, evict the landlord, which is one of the slogans and quotes I kept seeing for a long time, and I didn't know what it was for. I thought it was just like something people say, and then I was like, oh, they actually did get landlords evicted. I do want to be a part of this. So, how do you see somebody who may not know about the tenants union that may not be here? How could they get involved in the tenants union like you did yourself?
Yeah, I think first thing first is to it's so easy for us to just go day by day and go through the motions, and we kind of accept things for what they are because we feel like we're not empowered to do anything about it. So first thing I would say is to know that you have power within yourself to do some things,
Mm-hmm.
and that power, it is very very strong, but it's even stronger when you're with other people, so that there's a community of folks who together are taking a stand to go up against the powers that have continuously for so long to, you know, create fear and to withhold us from really getting the rights that we rightfully deserve.
Mm-hmm.
So that's definitely that for sure, and also just encouraging them to follow them on social media at
Mm-hmm.
local tenants, and also get involved. I know that they meet, and they also hold in community spaces, and they hold other events. So definitely just be on the lookout for that. And also, like, don't give up. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's so easy for us to give up when life gets so tough. But let me tell you, life is always going to bite. Okay. But it can
Yeah.
make it so much bearable when you join a community of people who have your back, who are able to provide you tangible resources, or be
Mm-hmm.
able to hear you out and make you feel seen, and then also give you the tools that you need to be able to withstand. So definitely follow Louisville Tenants, Tenants Union at Louisville Tenants on all social media platforms.
Okay, how could they follow you as well? For the motivational speeching right there. We might need a book, Vashti motivational speech, but you did say a lot of impactful things and things that people do need to hear. We do need a community. Like I've been hearing stories all night about how landlords busted up community, took apartments and made people move out because they've been living there 10, 20 years, but now they got to spread out, and now we have to find alternative community because a lot of us don't live together anymore, or even in the neighborhoods anymore. Like I damn near live in Bullitt County now, but we are on Shelbyville or Shelby Street right now. Where the hell you live at? You live on one opposite end of town. So it's like one of these things where this is like an alternative community creating Louis Evolve, the LTU, and different spaces like that. Like, how do you feel this scene has evolved from when you may have been younger to where it is now? And how do you see that helping change the future trajectory of the city?
Yeah, so I moved to Louisville in 2011. I came up here to attend the University of Louisville,
Mm-hmm.
but I've always been a lover of hip hop. It's
Mm-hmm.
always been in my life. My
Mm-hmm.
dad was a very big influence for that. But when I moved here, I was like, okay, well, I want to get involved with
Mm-hmm.
the scene. Coming from Lexington, of course, you know, you had your pinkies, your
Mm-hmm.
the whole like the Stoop crew from Oneness. We had a
Okay.
lot of rich history there. However, when it came to finding spaces where you could perform, or places where you could even, you know, really just post up, there wasn't anything like that here.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember I was on the student activities board at University of Louisville. Drake had just came to UK and shut it down. That was like the start of the Drake and the UK Calipari relationship. And I was like, yo, if UK could do that, then we at U of L, we should be able to do that. So I was on the students activity board, on the diversity committee, because that's where they put all the niggas and everybody else who don't align with
A
everybody. You know what I
diversity
mean?
committee.
Okay. And I was like, me and my homie Deontay was like, yo, like, we should bring somebody. So they was like, no, we don't have the money. And they had the money, okay? But
Mhm.
literally, like, we went around, we asked people, who would you like to see? Who would you like to see? Who would you like to see? Next thing you know, it was Kendrick Lamar who was end up getting booked. It made the school newspaper, and literally, a student has said, "Don't nobody want to hear no nigger bop music."
That's fuck.
Okay,
That threw me all the way off. I
all
was
right,
not expecting the nigger bop music.
okay. And I will never forget how outraged all of us black students were.
Mhm.
And I'll never, ever, ever forget. We had told Schoolboy Q and Kendrick Lamar backstage what had happened. Schoolboy Q comes out. He says, "All right, are you my nigga?" And everyone's looking around like, yeah. He was like, "All right, everybody, y'all say you my, you know, my niggas," and everybody said it. And I will never forget that moment because I feel like a lot of times we just think that things are okay and we think that things are cool and we try to dead shit, but we dead shit by like still pleasing them. And I was
Mhm.
like, nah, we ain't doing that no more. And then like from there, I was like, all right, let's get involved with the community. All right, Jalen Rose came to campus. All right, a fire ass performance. I mean, this nigga shut that shit down. And then literally the whole time I was there, we literally had a whole hip hop week that where we
Mhm.
would put not only artists, but we were putting designers on. We did an international fashion show, which they still do, and we literally put local designers on, local acts on, hip hop dancers, all this stuff. I'm talking about we blacktified the whole campus. Oh my gosh! All right, but
Hating ass fly over
right, I'm
here.
saying. But really, that's what it's about. So fast forward, from I will never forget when Jig had the connect. That was really or Shasha Renee and the vibe. Those were really, these places where you could go for hip hop artists and even for hip hop connoisseurs to be able to go and hear it. There was really not many spaces. So just to see where we are in 2023, we still doing the same shit.
Mhm.
Venues come and go. Some of them fuck with us, some of them don't. Some of us would knock our heads even if we do want to be involved with them, or some of us would just use us because they know that we bring a crowd. But I
True.
think one good thing about it is just to see that artists have continued to evolve their crafts. We're here. 50 years of hip hop is still alive and well. We got great talent here. People all over the nation, all over the world are looking at Louisville, Kentucky, a space that I remember when I first moved here, people were like, "You're moving to Kentucky? Do y'all wear shoes?" Like that was literally what
That's the third time I've heard that tonight
I'm
too.
telling you, that was really like, all these stigmas, but now knowing that there are creatives, there are artists here that are continuing involvement, fire as fuck, and that have not given up and are getting that recognition that they rightfully deserve. So I'm just really proud of the evolution of hip hop, of arts here in Louisville, and I'm just really, really excited to see what's going to come about for the future.
I do appreciate you sitting down.
You're
You over here gonna tell me
welcome.
1 minute. Then we
I
start
know,
having a
I
full
did.
conversation. I knew I was gonna get more out of you than just 1 minute. I'm like, all right, cool. But I appreciate you sitting
I
down,
appreciate
Vash,
you.
and let people know where to find you at again.
Yes, so you all can follow me on Instagram at Vashti Janae. That's VASHTIJENEA. I'm also on Twitter because I love
JENEA.
that shit too at Vashti J _. So yeah,
All right, thank you.
you're welcome.
You know, I'm. Go ahead, rookie.